Good morning and welcome to LinkedIn Live with Dave and Vince. I hope you like my late night DJ voice because I've been practicing it for the last 2 weeks. This is our third episode of Let's Get on LinkedIn Live and Chat.
Yeah,
We're having a good time, right? We like to be in the $1 million circle. We like to be in the $1 million club. So we want to talk about millions of bucks today. I'm Dave Wescott, CEO of TransBlue. I have been an entrepreneur, self-employed for the last 25 years. This is Vince Ortiz. He was at Clark Security for 20 years as a top-level executive, and then he was his own business owner for about 8 years, and he was a guy who cracked the $1 million code, which is why we're chatting today, because it's great to be with the guys who cracked the $1 million code, and we have, and he's been with TransBlue for about 10 years. So. Yeah. Anyways, we're just going to kick off here today. We're talking about how to make $1 million bucks. What kind of ideas? What does it look like? How do you do that? How do we make that happen? Vince, what do you think about making $1 million bucks, man?
It's the way to go, right?
Right.
You got to shoot for the stars.
It's a tough thing to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you get in business, right? We all want to we get in business to make money, right? It's at least the top 2, top 3 in most cases, and it's. How do you scale it, Dave? I mean, but how do you identify that business?
Well, this is the tough thing. I think in the beginning, what we want to start looking at if we're really thinking about $1 million bucks, what does that really mean? Making $1 million bucks. What does that mean to us? What does that mean to our family? What does that mean to our life? What does that mean to sacrifice? What does that mean to time? And I think I think it's a little bit of a conversation about what we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right? So, we just ran some quick numbers, and I think we're all coffee drinkers, aren't we? We all like to have a cup of Joe every once in a while, yeah?
Every day.
That's right. It keeps you moving, keeps the juices flowing, keeps the wife happy, right? So at the end of the day, you go to a Starbucks, right? Or can I say Starbucks on here? Well, I'm saying Starbucks. So anyways, you hit up the local Starbucks, you go to the drive-thru, you get your coffee. What does it cost you?
What, fancy, $5?
$5. Yep. So you're into a cup of coffee, $5. So let's say you're talking about what kind of business am I going to start today? Maybe you've thought, man, I've seen a lot of Starbucks. Yeah. That Howard Schultz, man, he's balling out of control. He's making that money, right? So you think, hey, I'm the next Howard Schultz, right? Yep. I'm gonna open up a coffee stand, or that coffee. I'm gonna do a drive-through coffee stand. I'm gonna get in the coffee business because everybody drinks coffee. Right? Even in a recession, we got to have coffee. So, how many cups of coffee do we need to have to make $1 million bucks? How many $5 cups of coffee do we need to sell?
Wow, that's a lot of math. That's
200,000 cups of coffee at $5 a coffee. Now we know people buy other things along the way, pastries, donuts, whatever, but just kind of putting in perspective. Okay, so the coffee business is out. Right. I'm not trying to sell 200,000 cups of coffee to make $1 million bucks. That just seems like a lot of work, a lot of beans, and a lot of baristas. I don't know, but I'm not going that far.
And a lot of time.
Right? Yeah. So, what's next? Burgers, right?
Yeah.
Should we open a restaurant to make $1 million bucks? Well, I'm going to tell you this. You remember the 99-cent menu, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of places still have the 99-cent menu. So, if I go to if I go down the street and I'm looking for lunch and I'm like, hey, I want a burger, and I've got like Chick-fil-A's in there, and I've got Big Chicken in there, and I've got Five Guys burgers and fries in there, and I got Wendy's, and I got all sorts of options, McDonald's, Burger King, Dairy Queen. I got all sorts of options for that burger. Right. So am I really going to crack the code on the burger and make $1 million bucks doing burgers? And if I'm on the 99-cent menu, we all know what that is, right? That's 1 million burgers. That's 1 million $1 items.
That's it.
That seems like a hard way to be profitable. So burgers doesn't excite me, but for the sake of argument, let's just say that we go through and we get a really healthy burger. It's going to cost us about $5, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So again, we're looking at 200,000 burgers to get to $1 million bucks.
That's
excluding fries, shakes, drinks, whatever. Now, I hit up the KFC the other day, family of 4. We spent $50 at KFC. I'm going to say that was not cool. right? That's not something that excites me. So I'm not going to go back to KFC because there's no way that KFC, in my opinion, is worth $50 to feed a family of 4.
Right.
And we're not heavy eaters.
Just visit every once in a while.
Just right. That's right. That's right. So, okay. So burgers and coffee are out. So let's look at janitorial services, right? That's something that might be there. So just a little bit of research. We figured that the average client was worth about $1,300 a year, residentially speaking, if you were to start a residential cleaning business. So to make $1 million, what we figured was that you needed 769 clients to be able to do that. That is a lot of sales. Let's just put it in perspective a little bit. If our salespeople are average salespeople and they can close at 30%, that's 1 out of every 3 jobs, that means they need to run close to 2,200 leads to get that.
Yeah.
How many is that per day? We're just going to say it's a lot.
It's a lot.
We're not going to try to bust out the calculators. We've only got 20 minutes to hang out with you guys, and otherwise we'll be doing math all day. So janitorial seems like a lot of work.
Yeah. We're not even talking the infrastructure piece.
And I don't even like cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well,
That's not
what is
cool.
it?
That's not cool. That's not cool. Landscaping. This one's a little bit better though. $285 is kind of like the minimum monthly service. And we're not talking to you, big dogs out there who have got, Amazon distribution centers or anything like that, who have been in business for 25 or 30 years. We're talking about a guy who just starts his business, brand new, right? What we found was that was about $285 a month, right? And so what we found was that the average client was worth, $3,420, and we found that to make $1 million, you needed 292 clients. That's a lot of clients. That's a lot of lawnmowers.
Oh, it is. It is. And I keep thinking about just the time that is involved with this.
Here's what freaks me out a little bit. What happens when the mowers go remote control? Maybe these landscape companies, maybe we don't even need them anymore.
Oh, Amazon.
They're kind of gone, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to freak any of the landscapers out. Sorry, guys. But, those robotic mowers are kind of crazy. So you were a PuroClean guy. Can I say that? You were a PuroClean guy.
Yeah, restoration.
You did 8 years in restoration at PuroClean. We don't want to hate on the PuroClean guys, but the average ticket there is like $4,000, right? That's about accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
So to make $1 million in a year, you needed to do 250 restoration services. That's a lot of restoration, brother.
It is. It's, and we're talking, again, I go back to the time and the infrastructure needed for this, but it's a lot of sales.
It's a lot of sales.
Yeah.
A lot of admin.
Yep.
A lot of getting underneath houses.
Yeah, look at this.
I know, man. I know, right? Hey, I'm stuck underneath the house. What's going on, man? This wasn't in the job description. Okay, so restoration kind of seems like it might be out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
cool. So then here's another one, right? Handyman service. This sounds like a good idea. I can go change some light bulbs or put in an electrical outlet or, throw in some carpet. So we found on Dr. Google that the average cost for a handyman service was around $390. That's what Google told us. Yep. I believe everything I read on Google, by the way. It is 100% the best source for information in the world.
Give or take a few bucks.
Kidding, just joking. Don't take that seriously. Don't trust everything you read on Google. Just 60% of the time it's correct 100% of the time, right? So anyways, we're having fun here. So $390 a service meant that they needed to have 2,564 individual interactions to make $1 million. Man, that is a lot of one-time jobs. That's a lot of technicians. That's a lot of people.
Right.
That's a lot of overhead. That's a lot of stress. A handyman business now seems like a horrible investment for me if I'm going for $1 million. So you asked me the question, how do you identify your customer? And I don't want to drag this out. I don't want to keep the wonderful folks watching this to wait any longer. But the deal is, you got to understand what the average sale is. That's what we're getting at here. What is the average ticket?
Right.
And so the bigger the ticket, right, the less you have to hunt. So if I'm thinking about starting a business and I want that $1 million idea, Is it easier to do 10 projects worth $100,000 a piece, or to sell 200,000 cups of coffee? What has more infrastructure? What requires more infrastructure? What requires more team, more labor, so on and so forth, right?
Right. Scalability. I mean, it's
scalability.
Just being able to scale.
So, having said that, we want to pick a business that we can make a lot of money at. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there because I think it might be a good thing to make money, right? Athletic courts seem to make a lot of money.
Yeah. They
seem to be high-ticket items. Right, Vince?
Absolutely. Big projects.
So what do we got to figure out next? What's next on our list?
Well, what kind of client? I mean, I think we're talking about the big ticket items, right?
Yep.
Being able to scale that. And now you're seeing how that adds up to that $1 million business. But what kind of clients?
You got to understand your client. That is number one thing. You have to understand and identify your client and your market. And I think that's really important. So when you're in the planning stages and you're blueprinting everything down and you're writing it on the napkin at the Denny's and you're thinking, I'm quitting my job, I'm starting my own business, I'm ready to go, this is my plan, I've been dreaming about it, I've saved my money in the bank, I'm tired of working for the man, I'm tired of working for corporate America, I want my own thing. Think big, right? Dream big. You know, it's okay to shoot for the stars and hit the moon. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So, but you got to have the concept, right? So, look at your client. Identify what is your client and how much do they pay for the ticket. Really, really important.
Right.
And then, who is your client? Well, athletic courts are something that are being installed everywhere. Why? How many people have kids? I don't know, lots of them.
Yeah, everybody in this room.
We should ask Google how many people have kids. But kids play sports for the most part. And a lot of kids who play sports have parents that put a lot of money into their kids playing sports. I mean, most parents, I won't say every, that's going a little too far, but most parents, they've got this idea that little Johnny is going to be an Olympic gold medalist, right?
Yeah.
So they're putting all this time into what they're doing in baseball and football. It's crazy. But what are they putting in their backyards? What are they developing? Sports courts, right? Or athletic courts, excuse me. Athletic courts is the term that we use for this. So athletic courts is what they're using. And what do we see at parks? What do we see at schools? What do we see at playgrounds, right?
Yeah,
athletic courts.
Yep.
Right? So athletic courts are something that are always happening. In good neighborhoods, in bad neighborhoods, athletic courts are something that happens. So what we find is that the average cost for an athletic court is between $75,000 and $100,000. That's what we find.
Yeah.
And so when we install an athletic court, right? Let's just say it's $100,000 for the sake of argument. How many of those do we need to sell to get $1 million? Just 10.
Right? So low volume, high ticket.
Low volume, high ticket.
Huh.
We don't even need to sell one a month.
Right.
Right, we can take 2 months off. I think I'm going to take off December and July. Right? That way I can celebrate Christmas and the 4th of July all month long.
Right.
I'm going to be a pretty popular guy. So
on the client side, you're talking about laser focus versus a shotgun approach.
Laser focused. Yep. Understand what you're getting into, right? Understand the ticket size and then go for it. It's a lot easier if the average salesperson closes at 30%. I only need 3 leads a month to be able to hit my numbers, right?
That's right.
I'm professional. I've put it together. I'm not trying to be everything to everyone. And now I've got a ticket. I've got an item that sells for a high dollar amount. And I'll tell you that there are athletic courts that go in for over $1 million. Right? So, while I say that, you've got this ticket size of $100,000, there's also a lot of room there. There's also tennis courts. There's also bocce ball courts. There's so many types of courts if we're talking about, and we're not here to promote the work of athletic courts, but we're just giving you an example of what one might do to choose an item that has a high ticket and that we can understand and identify the client, right?
That's it.
And something that always need to be done. So,
well, you mentioned identifying the client.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, we could spend a lot of time just talking about that, but
sure.
But that's a big part of it as well, right? Because we're talking about, size ticketed, right? Scaling.
Yep.
And then when it comes to the actual client,
Yeah.
what, you know.
They're
technology
everywhere,
folks-
right?
yeah,
Schools, parks departments, you know, anybody whose kid plays sports, right?
Right.
I mean, so the opportunities are limitless. And interestingly enough, I was talking to a guy some years ago who was in the insurance industry. He decided to get into the insurance industry, and he said, you know, the thing about it is, you know, I got into insurance thinking I was going to make all this money because I see all of these brands like State Farm and, you know, Allstate, so on and so forth. But he said, what I found is that I've got, you know, Mrs. Smith coming in for a $150 auto policy, and it's killing me. And he said, you know, he's not making any money. So he said, hey, you know what I want to do is I want to go out and I want to sell policies that are in the 20K range. I want to go after businesses and buildings that give me that kind of money. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's going to take me the same amount of time to sell the little one as it is the big one.
Right.
And he said, that's what I want to do. And he built a multi-million-dollar business. Well, I'll tell you the same is true in my experience, where, you know, if I go out and sell a $25 lawn mowing, that's the first I ever sold in my entire life, $25 lawn mowing, right? I got to come out, and what does that customer want? Well, they want 3 references. They want to look at some work I've done. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm working so hard for a $25 mow edge blow client. Are you kidding me right now? Right? I got to put that same work into the client who wants to spend $100,000 on a sports court. They still want 3 references. They still want to talk to a client. They still want to see a past project, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes the same amount of time, effort, and energy. And I'll be honest, some of those mow edge blow folks take more time and energy than the sports court or the athletic court folks, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can spend more time on somebody paying a lot less than if you identify, know, and own your customer. So we want to own our customer base. It's so important if we're really going to build that $1 million business. And so at the end of the day, you want to look at, what do you want to do? What excites you? Mm-hmm. And what has big tickets, right? Look for those big ticket items, and then look for the clients who buy those tickets. Because what I can tell you is, even during the recession time, people are playing sports. In fact, when people are down and not feeling good about themselves, I think they get a lot of pleasure out of sports. Right. Sometimes sports is the only place they can turn to. And so having an athletic court or hitting up the local athletic court is that folks really want to do. So we look at that, and the mantra is, we want to hunt whales, right?
That's it.
If we want to build $1 million business, we're going to be whale hunters. Yep. Not going to be salmon catchers.
Yep.
Whale hunters, not salmon catchers. Vince, you were supposed to say you're going to need a bigger boat.
No, I'm just thinking, higher tickets, right? A little volume, laser focused.
Laser focused. And that's who we are.
Yep, absolutely.
You know the line from Jaws, right? You're going to need a bigger boat, right? So we're having a little bit of fun. But that's the truth, right? You want to build a business that's going to drive you that way. So I hope that this was productive. Any final thoughts, Vince?
No, just having fun. It's great. I'm looking forward to the continued conversation on this.
We're going to keep this going. We've got about 10 or 12 of these set up for the $1 million business. We're Dave. I'm Dave. This is Vince, and this is our third LinkedIn Live. So we're still working out the kinks. So appreciate that. Yep. And we're TransBlue Franchise. We are a franchise business. So that's who we are. That's what we do. We work with business owners. If you're thinking about starting a business, give Vince a jingle because he is an expert in what he does. So thank you very much. 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat channel. Hope you loved it.
Happy Friday. That kind of business, that's really where that takes off.
Well, even when you're